So Cornhill Woodlands, this is the unveiling, and it's a beautiful property, about 123 acres, and lots of solitude. Some of the trails are like the highways, a lot of people are on them all the time, and some like this, it's a little bit more out there in the woods, a little bit more of a wilderness aspect, I think. And we have some RTC Recreation Trails members here. Vicki McPherson, the chair. Brendan Coyne, the vice chair. Marty Coyne, no. Marty's contribution is that's Brendan's dad. So Mike Arsenault, he's not a member, but he's a friend. He comes to the meetings, he comes on the walks, does all this stuff. We're going to get him out on the trails, eventually doing some cutting and stuff. And Eric Goodwin. Eric is secretary on the Trails Committee, does the minutes, the notes, emails, and keeps us on track like that. And we have 2 more people coming to fill out our list today. Bert O'Donnell is another one of he's an advisor. So Bert O'Donnell, he's also on the Conservation Commission, and Greg Guimond, the town planner, and Bill Grafton, the conservation administrator, are 3 advisors that we have. And in addition to trail members and friends and advisors, it brings a lot of knowledge and expertise into what we have. So I'm going to let Vicki come up and introduce some of our guest speakers today. And Vicki is the chair. She'll help you out. And also, I want to thank James Coxis from the Mariner for some great coverage, and Alex Garcia, a summer intern with MCTV, who's here to film some. Thank you.
Well, this is one of my favorite properties, and I feel very fortunate to be here and be part of Marshfield's beautiful trail system and outdoor area that we have the pleasure and the luxury of using. Being part of the Trails Committee has helped me to hopefully feel that I am part of bettering that situation. I'd like to recognize our town administrator, Mike Moresco. Thank you very much for coming. His support has been huge in helping us to do the signage, to do maintenance on our trails. And along with him, I'd like to recognize the Board of Selectmen, our CPC, the Open Space, which we have Karen O'Donnell here. She's the chair for Open Space. We also would like to thank our Department of Public Works, the police and fire departments. We have the North and South Rural Water Association, which we feel very fortunate to have. We have a representative here from the North and South Rivers Water Association. I'm sorry, your name again?
Greg Hannafin.
It's very nice to have you. And Wildlands Trust, we have South Shore Outdoors, which we have Eric Goodwin, and he's done a lot of maintenance on the trail. We're very fortunate to have him. We have 2 Boy Scout troops that have helped with not only building the kiosks, but blazing the trails. One is Marshfield's Troop 101, and Robinson Rodriguez built the kiosks. We have also Hanover's Troop 38, and that is Jonathan Kelly, who blazed the Blue Trail, I do believe. And we also want to thank the people of Marshfield. They've given us a lot of support. They have faith in us as a committee by voting for us to have funds to be able to do this work. So we feel very fortunate. And again, as Ned said, we thank you guys for your coverage, because you help to get the word out, MCTV and the Marshfield Mariner, because you make the trail people aware of the trails. And when people are aware of the trails and they get out and use them, they support our effort to preserve them, to maintain them. And so it takes a village, and this is our village, and we're very, very thankful for all of your support. And I'd like to ask Michael Moresco would like to come up.
Sure. Thank you, Vicki. Good morning to everyone. I think it's wonderful. We couldn't have asked for better weather to be here. Really, nature sort of showcasing the beautiful area that we have, the areas that we have here in Marshfield. I think the Trails Committee represents really a great public-private partnership, with government doing what it can do, the volunteers really doing yeoman's work. We heard I think Eric spent like 38 hours, and a number of other people. I'm always careful about naming people because I don't know, there were so many people involved. I want to thank everyone on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, but really the thing I want to talk about is the partnership. And we have all of this beautiful land. I think this is what puts Marshfield on the map, is that our citizens came together and they supported open space, they supported initiatives through the CPC when it was time to buy land, set aside land so that people could enjoy, come and recreate. The citizens stood up for that, and they supported it both at town meeting, and they support it financially, and they support it through volunteerism. Because something this vast and this big, you can't rely on government to do everything. Vicky's kind words and mentioning my help really as the town administrator is to provide some guidance and direction. But it's really all of the people that are out here and so many others that made the trails, that are making the trails so wonderful. The trails aesthetically and from a nature standpoint, they're absolutely beautiful. It's really the Trails Committee that have opened them up. If you have the opportunity to walk any of the trails, they are very rustic. We're very careful about what can be cut, what not can be cut. The trails throughout the whole town suffered huge damage back in March of 2018 with those 3 100-year storms. It took a lot of volunteers to really get out there and reopen those trails and make them available. The one thing about the trails, they're beautiful, whether you use them in the summer. I particularly don't like to use them in the summer. I'm not a big fan of bugs and poison ivy, although poison ivy's there all the time. I prefer to use them in the winter when very few bugs, and in the fall. But no matter when you walk, and I would encourage anyone that's listening and seeing this, reading about it in the newspaper, to really come out and experience Marshfield. This is a great opportunity. People move to our town, people grew up here and decided to come back and raise their family because of how beautiful it is, because of the people that have helped make it beautiful, the Trails Committee, etc. And this is a resource that we want to share with everybody. So we hope that people see this, they come out, they be supportive. When the Trails Committee is looking for assistance in other areas, we have so many trails, I don't even know how many, and I won't venture. I know they're all over town. Some are on rail beds, some are on the bridle path, some are through beautiful big chunks of forest land that lead down to the beautiful north to south river. Incredible vistas. So I'm here really today on behalf of the Board of Selectmen to say thank you, to encourage people to get involved and participate, and ask people with the remaining few weeks of summer, except for those folks, we probably won't invite them back. Those were some of our Norwell neighbors. But I encourage people, while the kids are still at home, this is going to be a beautiful weekend. We hope the next few weekends come out and enjoy. Thank you, everyone.
And Mike, can we have you and Vicky do the unveiling?
Sure. I really didn't, but I'm happy to do it. If anyone else wants to come up, please join us.
I might have tried a double knot. As a Boy Scout, I might have tried a double knot.
I was a Boy Scout. That was a tricky knot, okay.
Yay!
So in the fall, we have another person that's working on the maps for us, and we're looking to have maps of Webster's Wilderness, the rail trail, bridle path, and should be one more. Pratt Farm. So sometime probably late September, those will be up, and we'll do some other unveilings and get the word out through MCTV, through Marshfield Mariner, invite the other partners, because there are different partners have helped out with different projects to come in. And as Vicky was saying, there's probably about 15 different groups that are involved just in this project right here. So it's as Mike and Vicky said, it takes a village and takes people from all corners of the town to help out. So that concludes the official unveiling and welcoming. And Eric brought a bunch of tools, and he's going to demonstrate for the next 12 hours how to cut and sharpen and things like that. Now, appreciate you all coming out, and feel free to come take a walk or come back another day and take a walk. There are several different trails, and they'll lead down to the water.
Can we get a picture of the drive to the partner?
Sure. Yeah, come on out from Watershed, yeah. Karen, come on out for open space. Yeah.
Bird conservation.
Yeah, there we go.
Eric, right here. Alright, one smile. Yeah, look happy. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bill took me on a nature walk last year on the hottest day. It was 90-something degrees. And we were gone for like 6 hours and he was trying to kill me.
He's run me through some thick woods, too.
Like, I understand why he wears all Carhartt materials, you know, so he can plow through the briars.
Yeah.
Some of the challenges on these trails that are going to be more long-term are poison ivy and greenbriers.
Right.
Greenbriers.
Yeah.
So-
Even worse than poison ivy. Yeah.
Yeah. The greenbriers are indigenous, but they still are very aggressive.
Oh, they're all over my yard. No
Yeah.
matter how much I cut them back, pull them out.
And we trimmed all our trails when we made them. These are all class 1 trails, so 1 to 3 foot tread
Yeah.
with another 2 foot of corridor to the side.
Right.
But that means when it grows, like in August, the corridor gets narrow real quick. Some of our trails are class 2 trails, which are 2 to 6 feet, I think. And so those, no matter how much it grows, there's always a good path down the middle.
Right.
You know, reading some of the past conservation documents, in 1970s, this property, you probably know, was planned as an outdoor classroom.
Right.
So they had, this property has really diverse ecology between wetlands, freshwater and saltwater, and all the different upland environments. Now, how often can these be cut back? The report suggested twice a year, fully. A full cut back in here would take probably about 30 or 40 hours. We're trying to do it about once a year. And there's brushing, and then there's cutting back the whole corridor. But this is our old split log method where, and we want to move back towards using forest products that are here. You pick the right logs, you get a piece of equipment. But you can see this one's rotted out and needs replacing, as a couple others are new. And this is a newer model, a walkway over here. This isn't, let's see, there's walkways and boardwalks. Boardwalks have the pilings.
Right.
But these are nice and sturdy. All you need on these usually is a little pounding here and there because some of the nails come up, replacing a couple slats as long as your base is nice and sturdy like this one. And then eventually we want to make these a little bit more of a ramp
slope so people,
for bikers, and this can be a pretty big step.
Yeah.
And you see this is loose.
Very, yeah.
The first time I walked in here, I completely ate it off this end step.
yeah.
And so there's little things like this throughout the system that we
Need
want to
repairs,
focus
yeah.
on cleaning as well, or fixing up over the years as well.
Because you can feel how much cooler it is too. Under
Yeah.
the tree canopy.
Yeah, average
Nature's
8 to
natural shade.
Right.
Yeah.
8 to 10 degrees in here, and this is a woodland, not a
Right.
forest.
Right.
A forest have a complete canopy.
Right.
A woodland has about anywhere from 10 to 30, 40% openness.
Right.
So that's one thing I just learned recently.
No,
Difference
very
between
good.
forest
No,
and
no.
woodland. Learning all kinds of
excellent.
stuff.
No, that's
Yeah.
great.
And it's so much quieter here than just, a couple hundred feet
Right.
out by the road. And the nice thing about this, go through the boardwalks and up and down the trail and then when you get out by the marsh to the river, it's a completely different area.
Right.
And it's just so quiet.
Yes, we've estimated about 600 hours system-wide a year for the 11 trails we already have designated is what we'll need in labor to do what we think needs to be done each year.
Right.
And we're building up to that right now. We're maintaining a couple of these trails regularly every year, and we're going to build up. And we're doing, Ned's doing a great job getting volunteers through the COA on some of the programs through there that are going to be with us regularly and building up our volunteer corps. Mike's been out on a bunch of our walks, and we got some people interested, and we'll build it up over the years and get going, and hopefully get some grants for some smaller equipment, nothing on tracks or anything, but some hand saws and maybe a trail mow or whatever the committee decides on to up that efficiency. So those 600 hours can be done, in more like 300,
Right.
400.
Well, and the other thing too is something you can look at, and it's a model that's used by a lot of other organizations, is maybe like adopt a trail. We have a lot of big businesses. Maybe they want to adopt a trail, or maybe you know, you can identify where if you adopt a trail, you know, we do cutting, you know, we have to have this many people, you know, we need refreshments, we need tools,
Yep.
you know, whatever you need and whatever that cost is per trail on an annual basis. And then they get to have a little sign. You know, I'm not big on huge signs, but
Right.
someone that's going to invest, we're going to have a little sign. And certainly on any of their stuff, they can, they're happy to say, you know, we sponsored this trail in Marshfield, you know, come down and use it with your family and stuff like that. And, you know, that might be a tool to help raise some money also.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And we got to talk with you more about how to do that. We have South Shore Outdoors, which is a company I operate, has volunteered to do that for the Webster's Wilderness.
Yep.
So it's one property to start the process.
Right.
And we'll come back to you and we'll
It's a
follow
good
up
model.
with that.
Yeah, it's a good
and
model.
just
Yeah.
like the Adopt a Island
Yep.
model. And then we can help them with events every year and that sort of thing. It's a
And
great
it focuses on that public-private.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome.
Great.
Nice one.
Fort O'Dell's going to come back another day and cut the beginning of the trail.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so bring one of the tools that he has when there's not as many people around, a chance to get.
Is awesome.
Yeah.
I really want one of those.
So that worked well on the other trail. So
I
he's,
like
he's,
this tool
he's going to
here.
do that.
This is the PAS system that's got an adjustable end. This is
Got a blade, yeah.
This is a tri-blade, and I sharpen this every time I come out, and I can go up to through 2-inch saplings, which some of these trails haven't been maintained in a couple of years. So just in the corridor, I can go right through and do one side, then come back out the other side.
Right.
And you've got the efficiency of 2 or 3 people with hand tools on that. But whenever we have a power tool, I do always try to have a second person right next to me or
Well, yeah,
behind me
right.
within 6 feet to make sure no one's wandering by and all these sort of things. But this one's adjustable. You can take the head off and put a hedge trimmer on there,
Yeah.
a grass whip. So Bill Grafton, our conservation administrator, introduced that to us, and he brings his own personal tools. These are my
Right.
personal tools. Hopefully the RTC can get their own tools so volunteers can access them after a
Right.
training program, and we can get more and more
We are
capacity.
working, we are working with Bill to get a shed located
Yeah.
somewhere where we can keep all the tools.
Yeah, I got to have somewhere to put
People
them.
could have access to them. Absolutely.
We'll get there. We'll get
Yes.
there.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Great. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Oh,
I'm going to have to depart, but thank you.
of course. Of
Thank
course.
you. Okay.
So poison ivy is a really important issue on any trail you go on. Just like bugs, you want to make sure that you're protected against poison ivy. One thing you can do is put on a Technu spray before you go hiking, which breaks up any oils of poison ivy that might come into contact with your skin. The poison ivy oil is called urushiol, I believe is how you pronounce it. But right down here we have some examples. We're always looking for 3 leaves together, and these ones in particular have jagged leaves. Not all poison ivy has jagged leaves. Some have smooth leaves, some are a lighter color green, some have a red tint. So one of the important things to remember is poison ivy is almost none of them look exactly the same. You're always going to see different poison ivy in different locations. But remember, leaves of 3 is what you're looking for. So be careful poison ivy out there. This is kind of cool. This is one of the intermittent streams. And what we see here is some broken glass. But this isn't, everyone tries to blame everything on teenagers, but this is a bottle from a long, long time ago. Not from any time recently. We'll have to come back in and pick that up. And in this area, there's an old bottle dump from one of the farms that was here.
Oh, okay.
Which, if you're a historian or a woods combing kind of person, can be a treasure trove for historical information from the area. In this trail system, we see a lot of small eskers. Which is these deposits of dirt that create little acute hills. And this is one of those eskers right here. And they continue down this trail quite a ways. They make nice little habitat for deer. When they pool water, the deer can be in there and be very protected and safe, and other animals to access that water. But they give the trail a real nice character all around. This is where we head down to the water. And this is another branch of the Blue Trail. This was all trimmed out last year. You can see how quickly it grows back and how much work it takes. This section here is kind of an important safety item for people that are hiking the trails. You see this tree here, you see how rotted it is at the base, no branches at the top. We call these widowmakers. They easily fall over, and when they do, they splinter into multiple pieces. It's not safe to chainsaw a tree like this because they could break down on you and injure you. But moreover for hikers, especially hikers with kids, I know my kids sometimes like to climb trees and mess around. When you see a tree like this we call a widowmaker, it's very important to stay plenty clear of it. And there's a couple of them on this section. Come on out, I'll show you one of the best parts about the Cornhill Woodland Trail, my favorite anyway. The trail comes out and continues back this way to connect back up to the woodland area, but there's a little offshoot right out here, and we can actually walk right out onto the salt marsh, and there's a fun little island right out here that you can go onto. Now let's see if it's dry enough today. Now, standing water. I don't know when high tide was, but if we walk in here right now, we're all going to get wet. So one of the improvements that's been proposed for this property is a small boardwalk coming out there with a bench on that island. There's lots of ideas. Oh, we got a nice hawk up here. That's not a red tail. It might be a Cooper's. I'm not sure. Ned, do you know what that is? Anybody?
Negative.
No, it's not a red tail. Usually red tail's the go-to.
Yeah.
Oh, it's three of them. Yeah. Those. I don't know if those are turkey. No, those are all the same.
Yeah.
See, three of them together. That's pretty cool. Nice.